Hi, hello everybody, I'm Justin. This is Koopa. Welcome to Koopa's Corner, and today we're talking about WWE's premium live event, the Elimination Chamber. It's coming to you this Saturday, and that's going to be February the 28th. The road to WrestleMania is full swing, and the Chamber is a huge pit stop on the road to WrestleMania. There's 4 big matches being advertised at this time, and they all will have some pretty big consequences moving into WrestleMania. So let's break it down. All right, first up, we've got the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Right, the Women's Elimination Chamber match is going to be featuring Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, Kiana James, and Raquel Rodriguez. The winner of the Elimination Chamber match gets a championship opportunity at WrestleMania, with Liv Morgan this past Monday night deciding she wanted to face Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World title based off of her Royal Rumble victory. Then the winner of the Chamber is going to get to face Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill doesn't have a challenger yet. So let's kind of talk about what's going on here, right? Rhea Ripley. I think she's got a decent chance to win. She's the biggest star in the division. She's the biggest star in the company. And putting her in a title match at WrestleMania is a no-brainer. And she could really elevate Jade Cargill because Rhea is so good. She can make anyone she's working with look fantastic. Jade could use the boost. She really hasn't done much, particularly since winning the championship, right? So I definitely could see a reality where Rhea Ripley wins this thing. Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton is possibly the most likely outcome to win this match because Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill do have a bit of history and a little bit of a feud going on, more so than Rhea. That match would be a little bit out of the blue. This one, there is a story to back it up, right? And then you don't have to move Rhea out of the tag division for one title match, which she will probably lose. You can keep her and Io together to defend the tag titles, right? So there's the upside, but going with someone other than Rhea, right? Going potentially with Tiffany Stratton, right? Next up, Asuka. Asuka is not entirely impossible to win, but I don't see it. I think Asuka is, in here just because of her resume, her pedigree, she's a former multi-time champion. She is regarded as she's very well regarded, and I think it's more for the star power that she brings than kind of the opportunity to put her back in the title picture, right? I think she's going to kind of keep doing what she's doing right now with Kyrie until they split up and feud with each other. I don't see Asuka sort of back in the title picture. I wouldn't put too much money on it. But again, I wouldn't rule it out entirely, right? It's not impossible. I wouldn't say a 0% chance, right? Next up, Alexa Bliss. I think Alexa Bliss kind of checks a lot of those same boxes that Asuka does. She's a multi-time champion. She's a pretty big star. She returned, and then she sort of got stuck in this story with Charlotte, which, yes, Charlotte is a big star as well, but sort of, again, tag teaming after years away for her to come back and not even really challenge for the world title, not really be involved in any sort of main story. Can't really be, I think, what she imagined, though. She's still getting consistent TV time, even in the tag division, which says a lot, right? It says how highly they think of her. I don't see her winning. I think she actually will end up on the WrestleMania card, unlike Asuka, but I do think it will be against Charlotte Flair. I think that whole Strange Bedfellows tag team story has been leading to that moment. But again, just like Asuka, I wouldn't rule it out entirely, right? I wouldn't say a 0% chance. Not likely, but not a 0% chance, right? Then is Kiana James. Kiana James here is very out of place, right? She doesn't have the star power that these other women have. And I think that that's a good thing. I think that this is an opportunity for them to elevate her, and that's clearly what they're trying to do, right? I think they've come to the realization that, oh, she's way more talented than we were giving her credit for, because she got called up and then she got injured and then she came back and essentially acted as a manager for Julia this whole time, and she's been playing second fiddle to Julia, and she's extremely, extremely talented as well, and there's a lot of upside to her, and they have the potential to make her into a star, and I think that's what they're trying to do here, sort of rub elbows with the rich and the famous type of a thing, right? This is an opportunity for her to show up, for her to show out, right? Here's the ball, kid, run with it, right? Reach for that brass ring, as they like to say in the WWE. So I think this is going to be a really big sort of make or break performance for Kiana James. She's either going to steal the show and earn herself several more opportunities moving forward, or she's going to fumble the ball, and who knows how many opportunities she'll get after that. That being said, I don't think she's going to win. I think this is her chance to look good, but look good in defeat, right? But I think that's all she has to do, is has to look good as she's doing this. She has to really step up. Finally, Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel is in here, I think, more because of her size, right? A big powerhouse type woman, and she can make some of these other competitors look good because of that. I think there's a reality where she could win, but not necessarily to face Jade Cargill. They would have to do something screwy to kind of get her against Liv. There's story there. There's not really story to be told with Jade, not yet anyway. And I just don't see it. I don't see her veering off from the Judgment Day going to SmackDown, to feud with Jade. She's also heel in the Judgment Day. Jade's heel. I don't see it, right? If they wanted that, they could have just had her take the title from Stephanie Vaquer a few weeks ago. The Monday Night Raw after the Royal Rumble, Stephanie Vaquer defended her title against Raquel Rodriguez. So it was possible, it could have happened, but I don't think they're going to go that way, right? So I would say Rhea and Tiffany Stratton have a good chance. I would say Asuka and Alexa Bliss have a bad chance, but still have a chance. I would say Kiana James and Raquel Rodriguez, no chance. So then, what do they do? Right? Well, that's the question, isn't it? Right? And I think that the safe bet is Tiffany Stratton. I think that the more exciting bet is Rhea Ripley. I'm always going to root for Rhea Ripley. I'm a big Rhea Ripley fan. And I think that Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill could be a really fresh match, and I think it's a much better use of Rhea Ripley than a tag title defense, potentially against the Bellas, potentially against multiple teams, right? You could have some sort of four corners tag team. They've done that at WrestleMania a few times before. It would be within the WrestleMania spirit. It'd be a great way to include a lot of women on the card at once, right? If you've got Rhea and Io in one corner, the Kabuki Warriors in one corner, Lash Legend and Nia Jax in one corner, and the Bella Twins in one corner, right? Like, all of a sudden you've got 8 women on the card. So I think that's likely the way they'll go, but I think that Rhea and Jade is just a little bit more exciting. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a swing here. I'm just going to say Rhea, right? Even though I think Tiffany maybe makes a little bit more sense, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to call Rhea Ripley to win the chamber match, right? Then we've also got the women, again, with the Intercontinental title on the line. Becky Lynch defending against AJ Lee. This one is a little bit interesting. I think it's happening because AJ's from Chicago. It's in Chicago. But I thought this match would be at WrestleMania, and they could have another rematch at WrestleMania as well. The story doesn't have to be over here. But if the story is not over, then there's going to be some kind of screwy finish or something like that. But I think that this is a big match. I was a little surprised they went in this direction, to be honest. I do think Becky's going to retain. I think Becky's going to retain, again, by some sort of screwy finish. Potentially someone else coming out to distract AJ, to start a feud with AJ, possibly Natalya, possibly Maxine Dupree. They could move in the direction of a triple threat or a fatal four-way for WrestleMania instead of a one-on-one. I think this was sort of the money match, though. I think that maybe Becky gets herself disqualified, right? Starts just brutally assaulting AJ, and that leads to maybe a gimmick match at WrestleMania, maybe a street fight, something like that. That's not off the table either, right? That might be the most appealing direction to take this, now that I stop and think about it. But I don't think this is the last we've seen of Becky and AJ, so I think this is going to be one of those things where, AJ's sort of in the lead. She's sort of winning. She's sort of the dominant one for the majority of the match. But then Becky just, she gets herself disqualified. She does something underhanded. She steals the victory somehow. Type of a thing. Next up, the world title's on the line. CM Punk defending against Finn Balor. Right? Again, in Chicago. So CM Punk, it's going to be largely over there. I mean, he's over everywhere, right? But he's going to be over in Chicago. And this really doesn't feel like Finn Balor has much of a chance, right? I like Finn Balor. It's nice to see him kind of sniffing the world title again. Hopefully there's some story after this, some character progression after this that leads to him, sort of stepping up a little bit more, sort of maybe splitting the Judgment Day up, something that can kind of thrust Finn Balor back into the spotlight a little bit. But realistically, Roman Reigns won the Rumble. He chose to challenge Punk. Punk is spinning his wheels. Finn Balor is a nice, safe bet for a good match with no real threat to win. So that's what we're looking at with this. Should be good. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully everybody walks away uninjured. Right? CM Punk could derail WrestleMania entirely if he gets injured in this match. And there's been a lot of injuries going around. Looking at you, the Vision. Right? But I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, and I'm not rooting for that to happen, obviously. But Punk and Roman is the match, right? That is WrestleMania. It was announced the Raw after WrestleMania. They didn't even try to drag out Roman's decision. This is the match, right? So it's a pretty safe bet to go CM Punk here, right? And then lastly, they are going to have a men's Elimination Chamber match. The same type of deal with the women, where the winner goes on to WrestleMania to fight Drew McIntyre here. A little bit surprising who they've got in this match. There was a couple of names that probably should have been in here competing that aren't, right? We've got Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Trick Williams. We've got L.A. Knight. We've got Randy Orton. And we've got Javon Evans. So Jey Uso qualified just this past Monday, the last entrant in. And rumor on the internet has it that he wasn't supposed to win his match. Bronson Reed was supposed to win his match. And Bronson Reed got hurt, potentially tore his bicep, potentially going to be out for a while. So again, I just kind of alluded to that a minute ago. But yeah, Bronson Reed, in theory, rumor has it, should have won this match. And I think he would have been a better fit than Jey Uso, right? Right now, it doesn't feel like Jey Uso belongs, right? He sort of abandoned his singles run to go back into a tag team with Jimmy to win the tag titles. And it feels like he should be setting up something like that. So I think potentially the Vision distracts him, gets involved. WrestleMania is going to probably be Logan Paul and Austin Theory up against the Usos, right? So Jay here is an easy write-off, right? Javon Evans is sort of filling the Kiana James role here, right? Where this is a star-making opportunity, right? They clearly see something in him, something big in him, and they are giving him the opportunity to show up, to show out, to win over the audiences with his in-ring ability. right? Keeping him around in these, around these main event level superstars is going to ingratiate him to the audience. It's going to get them to consider him a bigger star the more times he does it. And I think including him here has its upsides. But unlike Kiana James, he went over Gunther to get in. And I think that was a mistake. I think Gunther right now is the biggest star you have in this company, and he's spinning his wheels. He retired Bill Goldberg. He retired John Cena. And then he retired AJ Styles. And after retiring John Cena, he probably should have won the Royal Rumble, right? But you had him retire AJ Styles. Great. If AJ's retiring at the Rumble, Gunther's the one to do it. Gunther still entered the Rumble and was the runner-up. Right now, you have to follow up in some sort of meaningful way, and having him lose his Elimination Chamber qualifier and not even be in the title picture, I don't think was the way to do it. I think he needed to be in this match, and potentially even win this match, right? Unless he's going on to do something huge, right? And he could be. But right now, that's not clear. He doesn't have anything sort of in line. I think really what maybe makes sense is maybe he goes and answers Brock Lesnar's open challenge, right? But then again, I think a lot of people are expecting Obafemi to answer Brock Lesnar's open challenge. I think the only reason it could be Gunther is if he goes and he retires Brock Lesnar, which would be great because with Brock Lesnar's history of being a human being, we don't need him on our TVs, and I've been vocal about that on my channel before. But yeah, I think really this sort of leaves Gunther in an awkward spot, which is why I scratch my head a little bit. I think really you need to capitalize on Gunther retiring these people, and you need to just push him to the freaking moon, man. Put the title on him and capitalize on that momentum from retiring John Cena. Like, I love AJ Styles, and that's a huge name to retire as well. Bill Goldberg, a huge name to retire as well. But John Cena is in a league of his own, and Gunther is the one to put him out. Capitalize on that. And I think the other thing is, Trick Williams can sort of fill that role. They clearly see Trick Williams as a main event caliber superstar, and maybe for those people who watched NXT, maybe he is. But I didn't watch NXT. He's kind of a nobody to me. Like, it doesn't mean a lot to see Trick Williams in here. And then you've got Trick Williams and Javon Evans. And these are both newly called up superstars, both still establishing themselves kind of superstars. Again, if you're an NXT person, good for you, man. You might be shaking your head at what I'm saying here. And you might think these guys both deserve it, and it's not a knock against either one, right? But the fact is, they have really yet to establish themselves on the main roster. They're both just too recent, and if you're not an NXT person, you don't really know much about them. So it sort of feels like you have two unknowns. One unknown like Kiana James, in the women's match, that would have made a little bit more sense, a chance to make a star here. But having two kind of unknowns starts to feel like maybe you're detracting a little bit, right? And I'm sure that you're not. I'm sure the match is going to be great. I'm sure both guys are incredibly, incredibly talented. Again, I'm not trying to knock either one of them, right? I just, from that perspective, it's a little questionable, right? Otherwise, Cody Rhodes feels a likely winner. Unless, Drew McIntyre gets involved, causes some chaos, the match ends in disrepair, you end up having like a multi-man match. It feels like it's Cody's match to lose, right? Running back, Cody and Drew. I don't like it. I don't like Cody taking the title back at Mania. I think Drew needs to hold it longer. I think if they do run it back, Drew needs to hold it. You could always set up the triple threat with Jacob Fatu. I think that makes more sense, but then why not put Jacob Fatu in this match, right? He didn't qualify either. So it's just one of those things where it's like, Not super clear where they're going, but it feels like this is the direction they're likely going, and it's not a fun direction, and you don't want to see it. Next up, Randy Orton. Randy Orton obviously has some star power to his name. He's a legend. He's been around for 20 plus years. They could easily slot him into that world title picture at any point without really a story to back it up. But him and Drew have history as well. They've feuded before, so you could revisit some of that history. I would say this is more like Asuka and Alexa Bliss, where I'm not going to say 0% chance. He's got a chance to win, but I don't think it's very high. Finally, L.A. Knight. Yeah, I saved LA Knight for last because I think he's the most interesting person to win this match, and I sadly do not think it's going to be him either. I think LA Knight and Drew McIntyre is a decently fresh matchup. I think LA Knight vying for the world title finally is going to have the audience rallying behind him. I think LA Knight finally breaking through that glass ceiling and winning the title at WrestleMania, of all places, is going to create a moment that would just be huge, right? I'm picturing WrestleMania 20 with Eddie Guerrero and, he who must not be named holding up their titles at the end, right? Sort of signifying that a new era is here. And I think it's all right in front of them. You just need LA Knight to win. And it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. It feels too risky. It feels like we've bet on LA Knight one too many times. We've gotten burned one too many times, and now we know better than to put our money on him, right? So that's all 6 guys in this match. I think this one is, unlike the women, I don't think it's quite as like 2-2-2. I think this is Cody. This is all Cody. I think anyone else who has a chance has a slim chance. I think, maybe Orton has a slim chance. Maybe LA Knight has a slim chance. But this is Cody's match to lose, guys. Plain and simple. Cody's match to lose. And that's the chamber match. We might get a 5th match. They usually like to do 5 in PLEs. If we do, it's not been announced yet. Or they could want to give these matches a little bit of extra time, so we might just stick with the 4. Who knows? Either way, WrestleMania is coming up midway through April 18th and 19th. Right? So after the Chamber, we're going to have about a month and a half to finish building to it. WrestleMania is shaping up. We've got a few matches already lined up. And hopefully it's going to be pretty good. Right? And this is going to clear up a lot. This is going to build to WrestleMania, and this is going to set up a couple of matches along the way. So this is an important pit stop on the road to WrestleMania, guys. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? And what is the very best option to fight Drew McIntyre, right? Is it Cody? Is it Jacob Fatu? Is it both in a triple threat? Or is it somebody different? Is it a Trick Williams, a Javon Evans, a Jey Uso? Or is it an LA Knight? Right? Because that's where my money's at. I think that is probably the best match that they could do right now. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see ya in the next one.